No personal details. No personal details.
Shame on you!
And stop this mega embassy before the
in a desperate bid for growth. Now we know that sometime in the next couple of weeks, the Prime Minister...
I'd say the Chinese government do need a new embassy, probably somewhere in London, but definitely not the Royal Mint Court, given that there are sensitive cabling right underneath this building, and the Chinese have now built a room that's just 1 meter away from those cables. It's actually very worrying, not only for dissident community, but allies from the US, from the Netherlands, from Switzerland, have all voiced concerns. So I think it is very important that we take note of the fact that it's not just a local concern coming from dissident community.
The Hong Kong authorities placed a 1 million Hong Kong dollar bounty on my head because of calling for democracy in Hong Kong. This embassy will be a spy hub if it is built. There are 208 secret underground rooms under the Roman court, and this will be a spy hub for them to have more resources, more personnel, more diplomats to survey and intimidate Hong Kongers and dissidents here in the UK.
And it's been reported that it's a quid pro quo that we approve this embassy in order for that trip to go ahead. So even before he gets there, he's been held hostage by Xi Jinping, which is just a terrible look for a British Prime Minister.
My friends, it was a total disaster. The idea in the bud. Thank you very much indeed. To Chinese people, this is a fight against the CCP and our owners. We have met with
同埋 dates of birth 去加快釋放過程，係警署嘅 custody desk， 唔係喺架車上面，係警。
I don't think anyone in this country rejoices in the fact that an historic site sitting opposite the Tower of London and on top of an old abbey of historical interest, I don't think anyone says, well, isn't that good? It's sitting on now what is Chinese territory, or it's just opposite those historic places. Is that sufficient reason for turning down the site? Well, if it is, then why on earth in 2018 did the Conservative government, and it's a Conservative government, not a Labour government, give the go-ahead for the Chinese to buy that, specifically with the intention of building a new embassy there? Of course, it's worthy of concern because, as we know, China is probably the major hacking power and the major espionage power in terms of effort and resources currently in the world. So, of course, we must be concerned. The question is it possible to protect, if they occupy that site, is it possible to protect, let's talk about the cables to start with. Now, I'm not an expert in cables and technology, but I have talked to people who are. And their opinion is that it is not actually a threat, that you can manage the problem. Now, I think personally that we have to trust our security services, GCHQ and MI5 on this one. They're the experts, along with the telephone engineers. They will know. But I think the point that I've been making for some months, years, is that this is not an issue which we need to make it a big problem. And we've talked about the cables, but then you'll hear people saying, but this is going to be an enormous spy base. Well, that's just not the way modern espionage works. I mean, an embassy is a center of attention. It's easy to keep an eye on people there. The Chinese don't spy for embassies. They spy, they recruit and they run agents, usually in third countries, well away from the security services of the target country. And so, yes, there will be Minister of State Security officers inside the embassy. Yes, there'll be military intelligence people in there. My guess is that what they'll be doing is largely looking for talent spotting, reporting back on people, their personalities, who they might target elsewhere. That's not ideal, but it's a fact of life, to be quite frank, and it's not where the greatest threat actually lies. Their footprint, their diplomatic footprint, the rise of China itself and the need to project more power and have more diplomatic relations and commercial relations and other relations has meant that they need a bigger space. I think that's perfectly reasonable. People have said, well, but this is far too big. It is indeed a big site. Unlike us in Beijing, where we employ Chinese people in our embassy in a whole range of jobs, they don't. They employ only Chinese, down even to sort of the cooks and the lowest of the administrative staff. So that means that whereas I don't know how big our embassy in Beijing is now, but it was certainly well over 200 when I was there. It will now be, they need a much bigger staff because of all those ancillary workers and others. The other point is that they always like to have their people living right under their noses so they can keep an eye on them. And that means living on site and therefore a bigger site to build all the flats needed to accommodate them. I don't think we should ever underestimate the threat from Chinese, and I think actually our government should be far more aware of that threat, alert to that threat, and taking action to deal with that threat. It's just that I don't think that the embassy and the embassy site is that crucial. There are many more crucial ways of dealing with this. And as I say in the paper, buildings don't spy, people do. Buildings don't bully, people do. Buildings don't interfere a little bit with the traffic, but people do. And that's what we've got to concentrate on. If we don't like the numbers or what the Chinese are doing, then we can restrict their diplomatic presence here.
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，选择原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，它添加有羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。 太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。